Today, we shine a spotlight on a topic that touches the hearts of many families managing special needs children. So parenting a child with special needs like autism is a journey of discovery, patience, and a lot of love. It requires navigating unique challenges while celebrating remarkable strength. We have in the studio a father whose son is on the autism spectrum, Mr. Taiwo Ologunagba, who is a public servant, and his son, Erioluwa Ologunagba, also. And then both are here with us to share their experience, their thoughts, including how they have been overcoming the obstacles and nurturing extraordinary talent. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning, our viewers. Good morning, Nigerians.
Good morning. It's good to have you, and we have Eri here with us. All right, let's talk about your journey as a father. When you first discovered that your son has the autism spectrum, what was your first reaction like?
For every father, it's a blessing to have a child. And when you now have good or bad, positive or negative, when you find yourself having a child on the spectrum, it becomes a problem. And the mindset and the thought that comes to your mind is, how do I make this child grow and become independent, face the challenges of life, be able to interact with the communities, be able to go to school, do what other people are doing. And it becomes a challenge. So I, for one, personally felt the need that I have to make this boy become better for the society. Because sometimes when you don't do what you're supposed to do for a child, either neurotypical child or children on the spectrum, they become a nuisance to the community. So it was my view and my thought that I should give my child the best.
Well, just like you said, it becomes a problem when you have a child with special needs, and the challenges, like we mentioned earlier, right? So what are the challenges that, you have faced as a parent raising, a child
on the spectrum? There are different type of challenges, mild, severe. My first challenge was that my wife had to be posted for work out of Abuja to Niger State. So, and because she was out, and wherever she is in Niger State, there might not be really the support for him to get the best there. He had to stay with me in Abuja. So, and I have a younger girl too. So for me as a father, it was one of the greatest challenge for me. I had to take them to school, beat them, do homework, watch them. When they are sick, I have to do a lot for them. So that was the first hurdle as a parent.
They are doing house chores.
And doing house chores, I have to do house chores. And because, with child on the spectrum, it comes with sensories. Like for instance, when I'm beating them, I have to put my phone on silent. Because if he hears a phone ring, it triggers him. And so I have to put my phone on silence, beat him and everything. And the second challenge I also have was my daughter. She was in school, and when teachers tell kids that don't allow men touch you, so at the point when I was caring for my daughter, beating her, she once told me like, Daddy, you don't have to beat me, you don't have to. And I said, see, please, it's different for you. Because so I had to talk to the teacher to at least try to change her mindset about what I should do for her as a parent. So it was really challenging. Although there were also threats with kids with autism, I'll come to that much more later. So those were the mild challenges I had at the first instance.
All right, that's really, it breaks our heart that there's a lot, it comes with its own fair of challenge. But let's talk about support system. Now, you made an example of your wife being out of town, and that was a massive challenge. How would you say that you have garnered a lot of support system to help with this journey? Because we know kids with special need extra helping hand. Talking about perhaps professional help to even family and friends.
First and foremost, kids on the spectrum require therapy. So that is the first support system. Although as also a parent, you also need to also do a lot of research behind the scene and see how you can care and give support to the child. So therapy was also required. So I had to search for places within Abuja where I could get the best of therapy for him. Although it also comes with its costs, because finding a therapy isn't easy. Initially, the schools I found was on the high side, so I had to get a shadow that I had to pay monthly to give him that support in the house and also support him in school, because he had to go to a regular school. But you know, kids on the spectrum, it's difficult for them to cope in the normal school scenario. So I had to get a shadow to stay with him, to help him. But that wasn't enough. So I had to take him to a special school.
But how has that affected your work balance, you know, because it's something that must have been very tough to handle.
It was very tough for me in terms of work. But luckily for me, I had a good boss that understood, because I had to explain to my director then that, see, I have this challenge and please bear with me. So then because I live in Duse, my office is in Taku, my daughter's school is in Duse, his school was in Life Camp. So I have to drop my daughter. There's later Guarimpa. So I have to drop my daughter in school, come, take him to Life Camp. When it's closing time around 1, I rush back to Duse, pick her up, rush back to Life Camp, pick him up, take them back home, close, then go back to the office, then close for work and go to the house. So it became a routine and it became part of it. But it was challenging, and I had bosses that understood. So they gave me that leverage to be able to navigate within this scenario. So it was, thank God for people I have around me.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's talk about education. You made mention of how you go drop him off. How is the education inclusion? You know, is there space now? Would you say that Nigeria, even Abuja, has grown when it comes to making education inclusive for kids with special needs?
Yeah, there are a lot of schools in Abuja that do inclusiveness for kids. That do inclusiveness for kids. However, some of them are on the high side. And there are schools that also do focus on special needs alone, just for special needs. Some schools do both inclusion, because inclusion is really, really good for kids on the spectrum. So a lot of schools have now inculcated the habit of also doing inclusion. However, schools that are just the regular schools still need to be educated. In fact, Nigerians, a lot of people, even people within the society, need to be educated to know that all kids are not stereotypical. They're not the same. They are kids on the spectrum. They are kids with special disabilities. So treat them differently from how you treat kids and don't stigmatize. Stigmatization is a big problem, and I faced it as a parent too. So a lot of schools are now beginning to be aware and do more of inclusion too.
Yeah.
In Abuja.
Really
well,
great.
yeah, but you know, I can't hold back the fact that, you know, every autistic child has a unique talent. For some could be art, some could be music, you know, for some could be anything. I got to find out that your child has a special talent, right?
Yeah.
Could you tell us about it and how you were able to discover that he has that talent?
Okay, Erioluwa first and foremost has a talent in knowing people's birthdays, and he could recall events that have happened even when he was little, when he was non-verbal, because for almost 5 to 6 years he was non-verbal. He wasn't talking. The social interaction wasn't there. He doesn't interact with people, no eye contact, you know, behavioral issues and everything. So he has the ability to recall people's number. If he gets to meet you, he knows your number. He could recall dates, people's birthday dates. And if he meets you as a person, he could remember things. He knows over 30 numbers on my phones. He can give me the numbers of her.
Interesting. I'm
still
learning to learn other people's numbers.
And he knows the people's names also.
He knows them by name. Even some that he has not met, if he sees your picture, if he's interested in you, he can pick your number and say, okay, this is this person's number. And if you have a plate number, he would also recall the plate number. And if he knows you as a person, he will want to know your close relatives, your children, your spouses. And every year he will tell me, tomorrow is so-so's birthday. So like this, he knows 2025 birthday. So like 2025, he has over 500 people's birthdays in his head.
Including celebrities,
not even celebrities, people he has interacted with. So if he meets you now and he knows your birthday, he will tell me when it's your birthday. So people he has met over the years, he knows. And how I got to know that he has this talent was, every day he will tell me, because I don't have a calendar in my house, he will tell me, Daddy, tomorrow is so-so's birthday, next week is so-so's birthday. So I didn't kind of take cognizance that he knows this. So one day he just told me that an event.
Next week is testimony's birthday.
Okay. So he now took me back to an event that happened when it was even non-verbal. That was when I was like, then probably this guy has a talent. So I now questioned him and asked him, when is next week? Give me the date. When is this? So he started telling me. So that was when I got to know that he has.
Which means there are a lot of more things that you're yet to discover.
Yes.
That is really beautiful.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Although I also had to discover some much later for myself, which he got to know.
That is beautiful. So let's talk to Erioluwa. Eri, how are you? Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
My name is Erioluwa.
What do you like doing? What are your hobbies?
My hobbies are reading, riding bicycle, and playing chess, playing Scrabble, worshiping God, playing drum, and
You play guitar?
play guitar and piano.
Nice.
You're one smart kid, Erioluwa. How old are you again?
I am 11 years old.
Oh, that's really beautiful.
So can I ask you, as a person that is born in 1980, how old would that person be?
4 years old.
Interesting. I would have needed time to make that
How about
calculation.
a person that was born in 1957?
I was born in
The age,
How old would the person be?
1957.
57.
Okay.
67.
The person will be 67 years.
Is it 67? Or
Okay.
65 or 66?
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yes, sure.
Oh, well, that's smart. So, tell me, what do you want to be? What are your hopes and dreams? What do you want to be in future?
Pastor.
Straight up. That's the only thing you want to become?
I will be a doctor in university. I'll be an adult when I'll be an engineer when I'll be 23 years old or 24.
Wow.
We're already planning second degrees already and third degrees.
Yes.
So.
And when he's 24, he has achieved all that.
Amen to that.
You know, sometimes he tells me, I won't want to say predict. He says, he forecasts what he wants to do. He can tell me that, Daddy, I will be in JS3 in so period. I will get married in so dates. He would project those dates. I will be in the university so time. He will give me like a projection. So he does that. So
That is really amazing.
So how many Fridays are in this 1st January 2025?
Friday 3rd of January, Friday 10th of January, Friday 17th of January, Friday 24th of January, Friday 31st of January 2025.
Nice.
I'm really impressed.
I mean,
really
he just
impressed.
gave me the date, and actually, third is actually Friday,
It's
which
really
was yesterday.
beautiful. All right, let's come back to Daddy Eri. Talking about the misconceptions and stigma. You made mention about talking to schools and all of that. How would you say, because we know it comes with stigmatization?
Yeah.
How would you say your family have coped with the level of stigmatization?
Oh, okay. The first thing I do when I get into, because kids, first and foremost, a lot of people live in denial. When you have kids on the spectrum, you have a child that at certain age he is required to do certain things and he's not doing them. And you say, no, he's not. Delay is there. There's this delay and he requires assistance or therapy. And you're like, no, he doesn't need it. So now, first and foremost, you need that. And in area of stigmatization, when I get anywhere, because is always my body. The first thing I tell you as a person is, please, pardon him. He's on the spectrum. So you don't, because, you know, when kids are on the spectrum, they don't, you know, like being shouted at. They don't like being, you know, behaviorally, you know, sensory and everything. So I allow people to know that he is on the spectrum. So please don't begin to act negatively, because it also comes with this behavior. Before he can see a certain he doesn't look at AIT. We don't watch AIT in my house, because due to the color and some certain things, he will just like this scream, close his eyes, and you know, but he has been able to overcome that. And you know, some other issues relating to that, he doesn't, if he shakes you back, then he will sniff your hand. He can look at you and stare at you in a very funny way. He can come, smell your shoe, and you know, some people might find it indecent and get angry. So I'll just say, please, you know, this is on the spectrum. And you know, I've had encounters, I'll share this with you, where I've had someone say, my son has a mental challenge. It's mentally, because then he wasn't talking, and you know, social interaction was not there. He's isolates himself from people. And I overheard, and I went to meet that person, and I told that person that, see, I heard you said this, but I look at it as a strength. So I told the person, I said, whatever it takes to make him a better person, I would do that, to make him better and everything, and that you will be there to witness it. You will see it. And the person is still alive and is saying what he has.
I wanted to ask you about the societal challenges that you get to face, the barriers, you know, and also like to ask what are the triggers aside from the phone ringing and the colors that you mentioned. Are there other triggers that, you know, puts him in that kind of situation?
There are so many triggers that can trigger a child, you know, because of sensory. When you talk of sensory processing, for we that were neurotypical, that were normal, we might not be able to hear sounds that they hear. They are so sensitive. He can be here and he hears sounds far away, and that could trigger. Sometimes food could also trigger. Some certain like drinks with sugar, high level sugar content, and you know, it could trigger them. He didn't stop eating solid food until 6 thereabout. So even it was a process. Even when it comes to stooling, using potty, he never used a potty. Even at a point, I had to buy a potty for him and myself. So I would sit on the potty and start groaning to try and teach him how to, and he would look at me and like start laughing, you know. And so I realized that for you to actually navigate into how to take them out, you have to also behave like them. So sometimes I had to go into his world to see how I can navigate, behave like him, and take him out so he can actually follow the right course and footsteps. So,
with everything that you've been going through, let's talk about the financial strain. How are you people coping? Because we know they tend to have different tastes, you know, or other than the usual. There's these specifications when it comes to things they want and what they don't want. How are you coping with your family on that?
It's not easy. You know, sometimes you have kids like this that you're supposed to place on diet. It's not easy. You know, you talk about school fees. School fees is different from the normal school fees. So I had to strike a balance, because at a point, the financial constraint was there. So I couldn't afford to pay for a school he was supposed to go to. That was why I got a shadow to start at first, where I was paying the shadow at an appropriate price that could fit into my own budget. Yeah. So at a point, I had to step it up when I felt there was need for him to go to a special school, and I was able to cope with the financial constraint, the financial capability then. But even at that, it wasn't easy. So, you know, it's difficult, but hard to navigate all these challenges to see that he doesn't take me too much down below my budget, the budget level and everything.
So for the sake of those that, you know, may not know that their children are facing similar challenges, because I mean, a lot of parents may have children that are autistic, but they don't know the signs and symptoms, right? So what are the signs and symptoms that you were able to see in Erioluwa that, you know, you knew that he has autism?
Apart from the non-verbal, the first one is, there are so many symptoms. I will name a few. Hand flapping. When you see a child flapping, it's spinning. There will be spinning at the point, staring aloof, tiptoeing, toe walking, pacing. When a child is pacing, there will be pacing up and down, pacing back and forth. Then elopement and wandering. Children on the spectrum, they will just wander, they will elope, even when you're within their vicinity, when they're within your vicinity. Eye contact, hand leading. So, and then colors also trigger biting excessively, throwing toys, throwing tantrums. They throw tantrums a lot. For that tantrum, it was a big challenge because, children that don't talk,
Let me tell myself.
you talk about yourself.
Okay.
Children that don't talk tend to throw tantrums because they don't talk. So one thing I was able to do was show him love. So when he throws a tantrum, I'll tell him, be a hug. He will hug me and he will cry. And because I had a younger daughter that felt it was, what he was doing was normal, she almost followed the lead. She will come to me and want to do the hand leading thing. And I said, no, you don't do that. You're normal. Please talk. He is on the spectrum. So I had to force her to start talking. But she also helped him grow and develop, and they're best of friends.
I mean, you told me they are best of friends.
They're
Exactly,
best of
that's what I wanted to say.
So they are best of, so she helped him to navigate. And after a while, he started talking. And when he started talking, he became a talkative. That at a point I was like, oh God, please. So, and he asked a lot of questions. So I was like, okay, yes. Even when it comes to food, they are so sensitive when it comes to food. He doesn't like eating so many food. So I have to kind of encourage him, persuade him. I'll tell him, no, beans is good for you. You need to eat beans to grow tall. Vegetable, he wasn't eating abacha. So
Yam porridge.
Yam porridge. So I have to encourage him to eat those things, and like if you eat it, you grow tall. So he'll come and measure his height with me, and I'm like, oh no, you do it. And kids like this, apart from love, they need encouragement. I encourage them. I get a lot of bear hugs. We do handshakes. I play with them a lot. I play with him a lot. So
I play red light, green light, and yellow light.
yes.
All right. So Erioluwa, earlier you said you wanted to say something. But
Yeah. What do you want to say?
Myself, my name is Erioluwa. I am here to talk about the satellite.
Okay.
The satellite
Okay.
was launched.
Okay.
It was launched in USSR. The name of the satellite is called Snake 1. The satellite is especially
Fair. With
4
antennas,
and a
radio transmitter. Good.
Nice.
You know what what he told you just now is that the first satellite was launched by which country?
USSR.
And the date it was launched, and the type of satellite, and what the satellite contained.
October 4th,
So what?
1957.
Yes.
Okay,
So,
I need to have you to teach other kids because
so
other kids don't know that.
what I do was I try to encourage my kids to read everyday reading.
Yeah.
Because he's also good with computers. Yeah, my kids are good with computers. Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint.
Words.
Yeah, they are so good they can navigate with that. So what I try to do is I encourage them to read every day. So I got them this book that has a lot of
500 fantastic facts.
that has a lot of facts. So part of the facts is what he has just told you that he has read. That when the Russia satellite was launched and everything.
Yeah.
So they both read the book. I encourage them to read every 30 minutes at least a day.
Well, it's beautiful.
Or 1 hour.
I mean, it's beautiful to see that, you're encouraging them. But let me talk about Erioluwa, his sister. How was she able to cope with, having a brother that is autistic? Like you said, she was trying to mimic what he was doing now. And how supportive has she been?
Okay. Initially she was trying to mimic what he was doing, but so at a point I had to discourage her. So she got to know that my brother is on the spectrum. And because, when you have a child on the spectrum and one is neurotypical, you tend to show love or care to one, attention, than the other. So I try to balance it, hug, show love and everything. So because I know he throws tantrum, because I give him a lot of bear hugs, so when there is dispute, quarrels between them, I'll tell them, what's the problem? Okay, yeah, hug, brothers and sisters, love yourself. So I talk to them, so they'll hug themselves. So for every fight, and they are also quick to be apologetic, I'll tell them, say sorry. He's quick to be apologetic.
I'll tell them, brush, bath, sleep, and go to school.
So I also give them house chores too. They do a lot of house chores because when I was alone with them, I encourage them to do house chores. They help me out with some of the house chores.
They
So,
help me to sweep and mop.
So they've been able to, at a point, she got to know that the brother was on spectrum. So one day she came to the mother and said, Mommy, Erioluwa is now talking. That is improving, that is talking. And the mother said, thanks to God and thanks to you. So she looks for his trouble. She looks, so he was forced to speak. And when you have kids on the spectrum.
Two minus one.
Oh, really? I'm on this. Calm down. Don't worry.
No, we could do that. Don't worry.
We'll do that later.
We'll do that later. All right,
we'll do that later. So the sister was able to cope and also support him, because sometimes I'm like, please, your brother now, please, let's go.
Yeah.
So she was able to let go. At a point, I also made sure that, because when he left the school, special needs school, I had to integrate him into a regular school. So what I did was place them in the same class. So every day, she gives me a report about what goes on between him and them. And one of the challenges they had was whenever he's in school and he throws tantrum, he hits the head on the wall and everything, they will have to call me. And I have to talk to him that please stay calm. The sister will be there. And the sister was able to groom him and help him because they were in the same class.
That is really amazing. Yeah. I mean, kudos to Erioluwa.
And for you taking the burden as a father.
I mean, just quickly, based on you being a father of someone on spectrum, what would be your advice to parents just discovering and navigating their way through this?
Okay, interestingly, someone wants to even do a podcast for me, probably in future, and I'm going to talk specifically on parenting, where I would want parents, spouses, both couples to be there. I found out that a lot of couples, especially the male, I've had experiences, will leave their wives when a child with special need arises. The man elopes and leaves the woman
with the burden.
And for me, even the neurotypical child requires the presence of a parent, both parents, not one, requires the presence of a parent. You both came together to give birth to this child. So for me, that fatherly presence or motherly presence needs to be there. Because sometimes the mother might not be able to do it alone. So the child requires the presence of a father. Like for me, my kids are with me because I tend to put them on their toes, discipline them, as well as encourage them, play with them, do a lot of things. So for parents, and I'm using this medium to also appeal to our fathers that please, when you have a child on the spectrum, assist your wives to stay with them, help them. It's not about the financial part. Please, emotional part, because women are multitasking. So please, in order for not to break down, I've always had this thought that if my wife is not there, who does it?
Of course.
So that was why I'd always been, and thank God for my late mother, she has always put me on my toe that you have to be able
do that. That's really amazing, Mr.
also
Taiwo.
Also been able to step in.
That's a really good message. I mean, thank you so much. I appreciate you for spending your morning with us here, Mr. Taiwo Ologunagba. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for joining us.
And also, Erioluwa, thank you too for coming.
Thank you for coming.
All right, with that, we've come to the end of Daybreak Extra on Trust Television. Hope you picked a thing or two. It was really insightful and really important message that was passed in today. You know that you're supposed to be nice and kind to everyone you meet out there. I am Sumayya Abubakar. Please do stick around. Top of the hour, Adeni Ajishafa will bring you the weekend sport. Do have a lovely weekend.
And I'm Fatima Musa. Do have a nice day.